Hello friend, my name is Asindra and today I'm going to be playing for you a Troll's Fairy Tale by S.K.Y Art and Designs with Friend.
Hello.
So, friend, can a troll have a fairy tale love story too?
I certainly hope so. It would be absolutely wonderful if they could.
I agree. Let's begin. Would you like to be this voice?
Sure. What sort of voice should I be doing? I should have asked this before we started recording.
I have no idea, but I
Just
also need
voices.
to turn down the volume. There we go.
Alright. I'll do this person's voice or whatever.
You can do a normal voice if you would like, and
Yeah,
when
sure.
we see them, you can change it if you want.
That sounds like a good idea. I'm not too sure about this, Mom.
Alakwa, please. If we want this to work, then I need your full support. You know how difficult your sister can be. Turning over in my bed, I could hear the hushed whispers of my mother and sister just outside my bedroom door and the noise of some rowdy teenagers from outside. With my diary still in my hand, I must have fallen asleep while reading through some old sad entries and writing in new ones. With the Arbutus Festival coming up soon, you could almost feel the excitement and anticipation in the air. Unfortunately for me, all I felt was stress and agitation. My mother had heard a lot of stupid gossip and rumors about how if you don't find a mate by your 23rd birthday, you end up alone forever.
Well, that means I'm screwed.
Yeah, I know. I was just like, well...
I'm 25. Well...
Same. Well, I'm 24 now, and will be turning 25 this following spring. Yay me.
But Mom, that guy is such a stink bag. Isn't there someone else you can set her up with?
Language, missy. We may be trolls, but I didn't work with my fingers to the bones to raise such foul mouth. With a sigh, I closed my diary and scooted off my bed. I could hear my mother lecturing my sister about how hard she worked as a single parent, only wanting the best for her girls and so on and so forth. Opening the door, I glanced over at my sister. Her lips were pressed in a tight line, a look of disdain on her face as her mother continued on about all the different relationships she had had in her younger years and the importance of saving yourself for marriage. Oh, look at the cutie pies!
They are very cool. Aww.
Mama, please stop. This is extremely disturbing and gross. Oh, Acacia, good morning, dear. I heard my sister let out a sigh of relief as her wrinkled brow relaxed now that Mom had turned her attention to me.
Thank God.
As I made my way to the living room, I could hear the noise of the group of kids from outside grow louder. Do they have no respect for the troll's personal property? Looking annoyed over at my sister, I motioned for her to go do something about them, and with a nod she walked toward the window. You'll never guess who I ran into today. The energetic sound of my mother's voice made my stomach knot. I could feel my chest tighten and a slight headache start to throb at my temples. I love my mother, but she has the absolute worst taste when it comes to picking out men, and whenever I try to stop her, she throws a big fit, and I really don't want to go through this today. She looks very conniving, our mother.
She does. She looks like she's got plans for everything.
I wanted to hurry up and get this over with so I could get to the shop and try out this new pastry I made for a special occasion. Do I have to guess? You can go ahead and just tell me. It's one of our neighboring clan's eldest son. I just so happened to run into his mother while at the shop, and when I offered her one of those treats you made, she was blown away by the flavor and delicate texture. Tilting her head back, she let out a triumphant laugh, but I wasn't amused at all when I heard she gave away one of my snacks. She never expected to find such high-end delicacy at our little pastry stand. That's why you should never underestimate... Wait, did you give her the blue one or the pink one? A small crease showed between her eyebrows as she thought. The pink one, I think. Why? Great. With another heavy sigh, I plopped down on the couch, feeling a little more dejected today than usual. It really didn't help that the bunch of rowdy kids outside were getting louder. With an annoyed look, I peered over at my sister to see if she was going to tell them to leave, but I saw her gaze was locked on one of the boys who was now topless and laughing loudly. To be young and stupid. What was that? What was it you wanted to show me? Here, take a look at this. I promise you'll probably get voices later. I'm sorry.
I was just thinking, I probably should have tried to be the mom instead
Yeah,
of the sister. Oh well.
you can be the mom now if you would like.
Okay. I can't do your voice though.
So, do your own voices.
Alright.
Giving my leg a swat to scoot over, she sat down beside me and shoved a picture in my face.
Doesn't he look so charming?
After taking a quick glance at the picture, I grunted no and laid my head down in her lap.
Acacia, what is wrong with you? You obviously have no taste in men.
Maybe she's a lesbian. Have you not thought about
Fingers
that?
crossed.
Mom, that man looks like he's 15 years older than me, and he looks really cocky in that picture.
Let me see.
With her attention now pulled away from the group of young boys, Alakwa leaned halfway over the couch and examined the picture.
Well, you agree with me, don't you, sweetie?
With a firm shake of her head, my sister crumpled up the paper and handed it to me with one swift movement, I popped it into my mouth and started to chew it.
Acacia, that's disgusting! Don't...
But before she could say anything else, I heard a loud crash from outside. Jumping up, I walked over to our back door. My mind was set on putting an end to all of that noise going on out there.
Acacia?
Swinging the door open while still chewing the paper. How long does it take for you to eat paper?
I mean, have you ever tried? It can be quite chewy. It depends on the type of paper.
Yeah, I guess so. I looked
No,
around.
I haven't tried this.
I haven't. I haven't. It sounds like you might have.
I have friends in school who ate everything.
Wow. My
Yeah.
friend ate my homework.
If only my teacher had bought that.
I looked around at my mother's trampled flower bed and broken flower pots. Narrowing my eyes, I saw muddy footprints that stained the stones leading up to our door and back out towards the field where the group of boys were roughhousing.
Acacia, don't go out like that! Fix yourself up first! You look like a hot mess.
Oh my god. Turning it down again because it's really loud. What should we do?
I feel like we should go for the second option because this character is just so annoying to guys.
Yeah. There's no time for that, just ignore her. Ignoring my sister's screeching, I made my way up to the group of boys. I could see the dirt on the trampled flower petals smeared on the cuffs of their pants.
Oh, should I do this one?
Yeah.
Hey, you guys! Look who's coming this way!
The boy whom my sister was staring so intently at nudged some of his friends to get their attention. An amused look was on his face.
Come to enjoy the view?
Go clean up that mess you made in my mother's flower garden. While still chewing the paper, I nudged my head back towards the ruined flower bed. Glancing over at the flowers and turning his gaze back to me, he wrinkled his nose in disgust.
Maybe if your cute sister came out here to ask us, I'd probably do that, but since it's you...
His voice trailed off as he looked me up and down with his friends laughing beside him. With one quick motion, I snatched him up by his hair and dragged him back to the flower bed. The urge to spit the wad of paper right in his face briefly crossed my mind, but I decided to act against it. Disgusting? Yes. Do I care? No. I'm a troll. I'll do whatever I feel like doing.
Get your hands off me, you ugly mutt!
Look at you trying to insult me in front of your snot-nosed friends. Good job, kid. You're a big boy now. He continued to kick and thrash about while I dragged him along effortlessly at arm's length.
What are you doing? Let me go!
Once I finally made my way to the flower bed, I tossed him headfirst into the mud. His friends stood behind me, speechless. Giving them a sidelong glare, they all tensed up and looked the other way. This will teach you not to mess with the troll's garden. Now I suggest you and your little gang start cleaning up this mess you made. I watched as he struggled to wipe the dirt from his eyes and mouth, all while throwing every insult his little immature mind could muster up at me. Glancing over...
Sounds like such a charmer.
Right. Glancing over, I saw my sister, who was now hunched over, hiding behind the window. Her face was flushed with embarrassment. I could see my mother sitting on the couch, shaking her head while rubbing her temples. A pang of guilt stabbed my chest. I wouldn't be guilty at all.
Do you know who you're messing with?
Turning my attention back to the boy, I watched as his friends finally scampered to his side to help clean him up.
I have special connections to the Unicorn Nation and the Golden Prince himself.
So? I said flatly while crossing my arms over my chest and leaning against the doorpost. Biting my lip, I had to stop from laughing out loud when I saw a look of total confusion plastered on his face. Kids these days.
Don't you trolls know who the Golden Prince is?
Turning my head, I finally spit out the wad of paper in my mouth. The kid reeled back in disgust as it landed with a soft plop in the dirt beside his feet. Picking some of the stray pieces of paper out of my teeth, I turned my gaze to him. Look, kid, stop stalling and just clean up this mess. I'll even go easy on you and won't make you replant everything.
You must be out of your mind. I'm not cleaning up anything. You can't make me.
Oh, really? With a smirk, I took a step towards them, and instinctively they all took one step back. Even with this empty threat, they obviously knew how dangerous it was to mess with a troll. Though I wouldn't be so confident if I was facing a full-grown unicorn right now. But lucky for me, I only had to scare these pups instead. Trolls are known for their brute strength, but unicorns have the upper hand with their weird powers and stamina.
You better stay away from us if you know what's good for you.
With a laugh, I shook my head and took another step closer to him. I wasn't going to do anything too damaging to them, I just wanted to give them a little scare. Besides, I still had work that I needed to do at our small pastry stand. Kid, just clean up your mess and I'll back off.
You can't make me.
I could rub your face in the dirt.
Ew.
I mean, that would teach him something.
They teach him that dirt is really difficult to get off if you're not careful.
Yep. I bet you that I can. Reaching out, I grabbed the boy's ear and gave it a pinch and a twist.
Ow! What the heck is wrong with you?
What the heck is wrong with you? You were destroying somebody else's flower bed. I'll rip your stupid little ear right off if you don't get your butt over there and start... Just then, I heard a low whistle followed by the sounds of hands clapping behind me.
Who's gonna do this voice?
You're gonna be this one as well. You're gonna be all the voices.
Okay. Well now, isn't this entertaining?
I suddenly felt strong hands grabbing hold of my wrist. Oh, hello. Oh, we're really pretty.
Aw, we are.
I like when in the side picture all I could see is tons of ginger hair, which is really pretty, but also really pretty. Yay. A scent of cinnamon and spice hit my nostrils as I looked up to see who it was that had the nerve to grab me. With a gasp, I reeled back when I saw that I was standing face to face with the Prince of the Unicorns, or as some of the others say, the Golden Prince of the land.
Is it bad that I totally called this as soon as they mentioned the Golden Prince? I was like, yes, she's gonna fall for the Golden Prince. He's gonna turn up and they're gonna start dating. Like, oh well.
I agree. Also, he's not that hot.
He's alright.
He's alright.
Yeah.
His icy silver eyes bored into mine. His beautiful features were envied by all the trolls in my clan and adored by the entire female population. I like how my face is... He's just like, I am not impressed.
She looks like she's half asleep. We're about to sneeze.
Lost in my train of thought, I saw an arrogant smile spread across his lips. The last thing I wanted to do was give him the satisfaction of knowing that I was swooning over him. I roughly snatched my wrist out of his hand and straightened up, trying to maintain my dignity. But before I could say anything, he suddenly let out a staffed laugh while eyeing me from head to toe.
That was a staffed laugh.
I have no idea. Can I help you with something, Your Highness? Okay, now he just looks like an emo kid.
He
His
really
name
does.
is Damien.
Sure, since you're offering. First, don't call me your princess. What?
Don't call me your princess.
I
mean,
misread
that's fair.
that. I misread that so bad. First, don't call me your highness. Prince Damien will do just fine.
Arrogant little...
And secondly...
With one smooth movement, he pulled a lock of my hair hanging by my ear and gently rubbed it between his fingers.
Rude.
Personal space? Dude.
You might want to do something about this bird's nest of a mess you call hair before going out in public again.
My mouth hung open in complete shock. A woman's hair was her glory, and something all trolls in my clan pride themselves on. Even if their skin was rough and their features were somewhat unpleasant, they at least had hope in their beautiful hair. Slapping his hand away, I snarled down at the boys who were now all cowering behind the prince. If I catch you near my mother's flower garden again, I'll rip your toes off and shove them in your eye sockets. With one last narrow look at the prince, I shoved past him and tried to escape back inside.
I'm curious about something though, Buttercup.
That's not my name, and I'm done talking to you, so... My words fell on deaf ears because he continued to talk as if I hadn't said anything at all.
Seeing how the festival is near, you would think that you wouldn't come out of the house looking so... mangled. I'm sure your appearance alone has probably scared off any potential suitors that might have passed this way.
I stopped dead in my tracks and could feel anger rushing over like a wave... me. What?
Grammar, please.
Over me like a wave. I heard his footsteps walking towards me and then abruptly stopping right behind me. The smell of cinnamon and spice floated towards my nose once again as I felt him lower his head towards my shoulder.
Dude, personal space. Seriously.
Right? That's really gross. It's like one of those crusty guys that are like, "Oh, come on, honey, don't you want to
Just
hug
give
me?"
us a smile.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this guy's such a creep. This is hilarious.
Don't fall for him. Kick him
You
in the
wouldn't have-
nuts.
Yeah, do it. You wouldn't happen to be participating in the festival this year, would you? Judging by your apparel, it looks like you've been on a pretty long losing streak.
Oh my god, I am going to kick him in the nuts. He
Please.
said this in a low whisper as I felt his breath brush against my cheek, and I felt his hand tug at another strand of my hair. How is me not finding a mate considered a losing streak? With my fist clenched up at my side, I did something that would probably be the talk of the town for years.
Punch him in the nuts.
I punched the Golden
Yeah.
Prince. Nice. Why is he the Golden Prince? He looks more like the Silver Prince.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe it's like a golden throne or some shit like that.
Yeah. I felt the strong impact of my fist hitting his right cheek and watched as he fell back and looked up at me, staggered. Without a second to lose, I hightailed it out there before my mother and sister came running through the door. It would be better to hide out in our bakery instead of stay here and wait for unspeakable horrors to unfold. As I ran away, I could hear the screeching of my mother's voice in the distance.
Acacia!
I couldn't believe that I had actually punched the Unicorn Prince. Of course, I've gotten into plenty of fights in my lifetime, and unfortunately got a weird reputation because of that, but never have I ever gotten in a fight with a prince.
That was the first time for everything.
Yep. I decided to spend the rest of my morning hiding out in the shop with a cloth tied over my head to hide my hair, just in case he had a bounty out for me or something. I didn't want to be easily recognized. Word got around quickly about the incident. I spent the rest of my day making pastries in the shop while waiting for things to die down a little. The rest of the morning passed by uneventfully, and I breathed a sigh of relief as I was finally getting close to closing time. My mother had arrived just a few hours ago to rip me a new one about my actions towards the prince. I could tell that she was still upset because of the way she was slamming each cabinet and door shut. I didn't feel bad about punching the prince, but what did make me feel sad was the fact my mother was disappointed in me. Ever since Dad left us when I was 3, she always worked so hard to raise me and my sister all on her own. She'd had enough on her plate as it was already, and I hated being the cause of excess stress into her life. So with a heavy sigh, I put down the broom that I was using and cautiously made my way to her side. Mama. Her lips were pressed in a tight, straight line as she moved. She kept her eyes forward and continued to arrange the pantry while moving on to slamming drawers shut. What is with my reading suddenly? Mama, I'm sorry. Mama, I can tell you're mad, but can't you at least look at me?
I'm not mad. Exasperated, maybe. Galled, indignant, irritated, piqued, provoked, riled. Sure, but not mad? No, I'm not mad.
Mom. With the wine, I rested my head on her shoulder and tried to give her the saddest puppy eyes that I could muster, but it failed horribly because looking cute and pathetic was not my forte at all. And I got out of that, and all I got out of that was a good whack on the forehead.
Answer me something, Acacia. Why is it that you've been attending this festival for over 6 years now, and you still end up alone each and every time?
With a sigh, I lifted my chin off her shoulder and took a step back. I really didn't feel like having this depressing talk all over again. I get it, each year I come back home alone.
Don't you want to get married?
No. I do, Mom, but...
But what? It's not like you haven't had the chance to finally settle down. What happened with that last young man at last year's festival?
that guy was a whiny little punk.
I heard you kicked him in his junk and shoved his face in the hole of willow tree trunk.
Nice. I remember
like this
that.
character.
Yeah, me too. The guy couldn't take no for an answer and wanted to taste the grapes before buying the whole bag, if you know what I mean. Oh. He was a jerk and wouldn't shut his whining up, so I gave him something to whine about, I said while leaning back on the table and crossing my arms over my chest.
He seemed like such a good boy, Acacia. I just don't understand why.
Mama, please. I don't want to just settle for anyone. When I do find someone, I want it to be...
To be what?
I could feel my mother's eyes studying me while my words trailed off, and I lowered my head in embarrassment. I wanted to be like those love stories in the fairytale books you used to read to us. A bitter laugh escaped my mother's lips as she turned away from me. All the pain and hurt that she went through with my dad buried away any and all thoughts of true love and happy endings for my mom's heart.
There's a reason why it's a story, Acacia. True love like that doesn't exist.
I could hear a twinge of hurt in her voice as she turned back towards me. Her deep brown eyes became hardened as stone.
You should never marry for love, because love is weak and will leave over time.
Then what should I marry for?
Money.
My mother had always been the realistic type of person, but to hear her say that made her seem cold.
And since we're talking about this, I've went ahead and signed you up to participate in the festival meet and greet.
The what? Wiping her hands off on her apron, I watched her pull out a neatly folded piece of paper from one of her pockets and handed it to me.
Some of the kings and queens from the different nations thought that it would be a good idea to put this together. They thought that this could help promote peace between the different nations, and also help those who might be a little shy to have a chance to find a possible suitor.
Sighing, I read over the paper and saw many different activities that were planned to happen from the first day up until the last night of the festival. Mom, I'm a little too old to keep having you try to set me up with someone or go to weird little gatherings like this.
I really don't think you have any ground to be telling me this right now. You punched a unicorn. You punched the prince, no doubt, for goodness sakes. I'm amazed the poor boy didn't press charges against you or have you executed on grounds of treason or something.
Mom, you're overreacting. I don't know. I think if you punch the prince, that's not overreacting.
Yeah, I mean, you punched a prince. They can do a lot of stuff. I'm not overreacting. You're being stupid, and if you want to keep that little trust I have in you, I suggest you get your behind over to this meet and greet tonight and make a good impression.
Feeling that I already lost this battle, I nodded weakly. Flashing me a satisfied smile, she patted my cheek and led me out of the shop.
Your sister's already on standby to help fix you up.
I looked up and saw Laqua standing in front of me with a sheepish look on her face and a bundle of clothes and a brush in her hand.
Sorry about this, sis.
With a heavy sigh, I followed them back home. As I laid limply on my bed, and I tried to ignore my scalp throbbing in pain as my sister raked the comb through my knotted hair.
There was a brush earlier.
Yeah.
Why is it that you have all this hair, yet you never take care of it?
I do. This is the style I'm going for. It's a pretty good style, I think.
It is! I like her hair being absolutely massive. It's pretty cool.
It's like, yeah.
What a mess of a bird's nest.
What was that? Lifting my head off the bed, I narrowed my eyes at her.
Oh, come on! You have to admit it was pretty interesting out there.
I don't see anything interesting about it. He obviously doesn't understand the logic behind staying out of a troll's personal space.
I wouldn't mind.
You little hot butt. Whatever that means. I yelled while shoving her off the bed. She was giggling uncontrollably, even though she hit the ground with a thud. All I want is to hurry up and get finished with this meat and grease so that I can go out and look for more spices. Sitting up and resting her head on the edge of the bed, she looked up at me wide-eyed.
You really are a hopeless romantic.
What are you talking about? I just want to try this new recipe out. With a knowing look, she raised one eyebrow and shook her head.
I know why you were so upset about Mum giving the lady your pastry some before.
I narrowed my eyes at her once again, studying her face while folding my arms across my chest. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, I do. I read what you wrote in your diary.
With a yelp, I stood up on my bed while pointing an accusing finger down at her. You little rat! How dare you! Throwing a pillow up at my face, I could hear her giggling all over again.
Can you blame me? If you knew that your 24-year-old big sister still wrote in her diary faithfully every day, I bet you'd be curious to know what she was writing about too.
I knew it was silly. I thought that I'd have to keep it a secret, but apparently I suck at being sneaky. Looks like I'll have to find a new lock and hiding place for my diary.
Do you really think Do you really think that the way to a man's heart is through his stomach?
Motioning me to sit back down, she went back to trying to tie up my hair in somewhat decent side roll. What's a side roll?
I don't know, I'm assuming something like what Misty's got, maybe?
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
That's more like a side ponytail, maybe it's like a bun.
Yeah. Kind of like Leia, but only one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'm just a little curious and want to test the theory out and see that maybe if... My words trailed off again as I felt embarrassed just thinking of something so childish. Never mind, it's stupid.
And love makes you do stupid things, so go ahead and tell me.
Well, I kind of thought that I'd first be able to win the guy's heart with my baking, and then after a little while we would see that we are destined for each other. Holding my hand over my heart, I looked up at the stars outside my window. Then, if we got married and have kids, I could read them the whole story because I would have written it down in my diary. It will be the best and loveliest story of them all. When they ask for me if this story is true, I will say that it is and that they should never give up on finding their own fairy tale love story someday too. Aw, that's sweet. It's not gonna happen, but it's sweet.
It is.
Before I realized it, I was standing up on my bed, cradling my pillow in my arms, with both my hands clasped together at the side of my cheek. My sister was looking at me with an amused look on her face. Embarrassed that I let myself get carried away, I cleared my throat and lifted up my chin while sitting back down with my back to her. What are you doing wasting your time? Are you going to finish or not? With a laugh, she wrapped her arms around me and gave me a tight hug.
I'm so happy that you're my sister. Even though you act tough, you're just all mush on the inside.
What do you mean acting? I am tough.
Whatever you say, sis. But just know that I'm on your side, so if you need any help, just say the word.
That's good to know. Even though Mom had already lost hope in the thought of true love, I was grateful to at least have one person supporting me in my little dream. Even though I'm not an image of beauty, nor do I have a lot of grace or elegance, that doesn't mean that I still don't want to be swept off my feet and experience a true love story of my own someday. Oh, well, you're in for it.
Don't worry. This entire story is about setting you up with the hottest, most awesome guy. Don't worry, we'll get you there.
I wonder if we'll get to pick.
Oh, I hope so. I love it when you get to pick. Except then there's always, like... Have you noticed they always, like, have, like, various different archetypes? Like, there's always, like, the really cute, like, nerdy one. There's always, like, the really... I don't know. There's, like, different archetypes.
Yeah.
There's always one who's a complete douchebag and is somehow the most popular one in every fandom ever, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With my wild hair... I like the nerdy ones, though.
Yeah, the nerdy ones are nice.
Yeah. With my wild hair finally under a little more control, I turned and looked back towards my mother and sister who were shooing me towards the large gathering, laughing and talking amongst themselves.
Remember to smile, be pleasant, and for the love of God, try not to break any bones just for tonight. You can do it, sis. I'm rooting for you.
Mustering up a weary smile, I waved my hand and gave them a little nod. Here we go again.
Haha, looks exactly the same as it did in the previous picture.
Yep. Letting out a steady sigh, I made my way down towards the crowd. I did get a few glances here and there, but nothing more than that. Scouting out a spot, I took a seat next to an old tree and watched the others talk amongst themselves. As my eyes scanned the crowd, I saw trolls flirting with fairies, fairies teasing dragons, and some of the dragons laughing it up with the elves. It was then that I realized that this would be the perfect chance for me to get some quiet time to sit down and write my diary, and maybe find some new spices to make my mother an apology pastry. This sounds like a bad idea. This sounds like the prince is going to sneak up behind you and read your diary.
Yep, and then he'll know everything.
I had a feeling that she was going to be giving me a cold shoulder for a little while longer. I then felt a cold chill rush down my spine as I caught a glimpse of a familiar figure. You can't be serious. Standing up to get a better view, my suspicions were confirmed. There, in the middle of the crowd, stood the Golden Prince. I watched in disgust as I saw him laying on charms with every girl that crowded around. I'm so out of here. Grabbing up the hem of my skirt to make my escape easier, I hurried away from the lively crowd and walked deeper into the woods until I could find a quiet spot to sit and write. Aw, pretty.
Yeah.
I gazed up and saw the moonlight shine through the leaves of the trees. Sitting at the edge of the pond, I dipped my hands in the water and watched as the moon's reflection rippled with each and every wave of the wind. I'll head out here for a little while before going home. Why are you talking to yourself?
Don't you ever talk to yourself? I do it all the time.
I do, but this is the first instance of her talking to herself, so...
Well, true. Yeah, maybe if she makes a habit of it, it'll be normal.
I hope so.
Anyway.
Splashing some water on my face, I sat back and pulled out my diary. I tucked it away in what my sister would call my banque de bustier, or something stupid like that.
Is that in her bra?
Probably. As I sat there, I let calming sounds of the forest wash over me. The stress that had been building up slowly began to fade away as I relaxed and wrote in my diary. I'll find my own Prince Charming someday. Other people might want money and jobs, but for me, I want love on top of all of that. The rustling sound of bushes, muffled voices, and laughter caused me to bolt upright and scan the area around me. I guess I wasn't the only one who decided to venture off from the party. As the voices grew louder, I started to gather up my things, but then a thought crossed my mind. Why am I the only one that has to hide and leave? What are we gonna do?
I mean, they're the ones who should be moving on somewhere else. Like, seriously, she was there first.
Yeah.
So I reckon she should just stay.
Alright.
And plus it means that she'll overhear some awesome gossip and she can write about it in her diary.
Ah,
and then when
that's
her
a good
kids
point.
and then when her kids ask about it, she can be like, yeah, no, everything's a fairy tale.
Go ahead and stay and just ignore them. Letting my things drop back to the ground, I sat back down and went back to writing my diary. With a stressful day like today, I didn't see a reason why I should give up my moment of peace and quiet just because a group of people were passing by. The voices grew louder as the group made their way into the clearing, and a sudden quietness fell in the woods as I felt a strange sensation that somebody was watching me. An over-exaggerated cough quickly broke the silence. It was obvious that someone was trying to get my attention, but I ignored it and kept writing. Something suddenly snatched my diary out of my hands. I would kill them. I jumped up, ready to face whoever it was, and was shocked by a pair of icy silver eyes staring back at me. I could see a hint of amusement and anger in them. What the heck? It's you again.
I think you owe me an apology.
I think I owe you another punch in the face.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but who are you again? I tilted my head slightly while my eyebrows knit into a frown, hoping that maybe if I act innocent enough I could wiggle my way out of this sticky situation.
Don't act coy with me. You know what you did. Now apologize.
His tone was arrogant and cold, rolling my eyes and pointing my finger in his face. You had it coming. Common sense would have told you never to touch a troll, and besides, you were meddling in matters that didn't concern you. His intense gaze held mine, and I felt another strange chill go down my back as he took his steps closer. Bleh.
I don't think you really want to make an enemy out of me, Buttercup.
Taking a step back to put some distance between us, I scowled at him, trying to shoot the dirtiest look that my eyes could muster. Is that a threat?
Put your hands on me again and you'll find out soon enough.
I don't think you know who you're messing with. Even with one look at his perfectly built physique, I already knew that I wouldn't be much of a fight against him, but I should be able to still break a few of his bones. I wasn't able to stand here and let him intimidate me, or I wasn't about to stand here and let him intimidate me. If it's a fight he wanted, then I'll be happy to deliver.
Fight, fight, fight.
Fight, 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 kiss, kiss, kiss. But before I could do anything, he quickly stepped forward, grabbed my arm, and pulled me closer to him. Are you crazy?
This guy is so rude.
He thinks he's being suave, but he's really being a dick.
He really is.
His hand held on to my arm with an iron grip. I tried to pull myself away from him, but failed. You're not going to let go of me? My heart was hammering in my chest with rage. I could feel adrenaline rushing through my veins as I prepared myself for a fight.
You know...
His words trailed off as he stood there, his deep silver eyes studying my face silently. His intense gaze was once again making me feel uncomfortable. If you think that I'm going to stand here like an idiot and let you...
If I kissed you right now, would it be your first?
My mouth hung open in shock. That was the last thing I was expecting him to say. I could feel the heat of embarrassment rising to my face as he finally let me go with a loud laugh.
Look at your face. You didn't really.
I stood there feeling like a complete idiot as I heard the sounds of his friends laughing along with him. What's gotten into me? I'd never let myself be humiliated by a man like this. I knew that I'd lost this fight. With a low growl, I bit my lower lip to stop myself from letting my eyes tear up out of anger and humiliation. That's one thing that I always hated about myself. It was the fact that when I got angry or worked up, I always start tearing up. I do the same thing. If I let a single tear slide down my face, I'll look even more pathetic. Snatching my diary out of his hand, I then pushed past him and tried to walk away, but he stopped me by grabbing my arm, his laughter slowly starting to fade away.
Hang on a second, Buttercup.
That's not my name. What is it with him and his stupid nicknaming? Lifting up my arm where his fingers were, I bit down on his hand as hard as I could. Hell
Nice.
Yeah!
Hey!
Pulling his hand back, he looked at me, shocked, but that quickly switched to amusement as a wicked grin spread across his face.
I guess your bite is just as bad as your bark.
If you think I'm ever going to apologize to you about anything you have thought, you have another thing coming. Ugh.
What's your name, Buttercup?
Wouldn't you like to know, idiot? It wasn't my most triumphant exits, but it was an exit nonetheless. Though I did make a fool of myself by tripping over one of the tree roots as I walked over the clearing towards home.
Walk much?
I could still hear the faint sound of him and his friends joining back in laughter as I made my way further out of the woods. This day really didn't end on a good note at all. I would have been like, fuck you!
Yeah.